Hello brothers and welcome to Sigma Old Man channel. The strongest people aren't those who show strength in front of us, but those who win battles we never see. Ever met someone who silently carries the weight of the world but never complains? Someone who understands your pain without you saying a word? That's a Sigma male, an enigma wrapped in quiet strength, cloaked in an empathy so deep it's almost unsettling. While the world glorifies loud heroes, these men operate in the shadows, healing, protecting, and understanding others without asking for credit. Here's a fact. Studies show that highly intelligent and introverted individuals often have the strongest empathy, but they don't express it in typical ways. That's why most people don't realize just how kind Sigma males truly are. Their empathy isn't soft and sentimental, it's tactical, precise, and sometimes even ruthless. They help without being asked, observe without judging, and walk away when they realize their kindness is being taken for granted. Society confuses kindness with weakness, but a Sigma male's kindness is anything but. It's not about pleasing people, it's about understanding them on a level most wouldn't dare to reach. So, if you think these lone wolves are cold or detached, think again. They might just be the most empathic people you'll ever meet. They just don't feel the need to advertise it. Number 1, they never let people feel small. Sigma males have a rare ability to make people feel seen, valued, and important without resorting to fake flattery or over-the-top gestures. They don't hand out shallow compliments just to boost egos, nor do they try to manipulate people by making them feel special. Instead, they have an almost effortless way of recognizing the essence of a person, their struggles, their strengths, the hidden parts of them that most overlook. And they acknowledge it in a way that's so subtle yet powerful that people walk away feeling more confident, more self-assured, and most importantly, more real. They don't inflate egos, but they also don't diminish anyone. They speak to people as equals, no matter their status, intelligence, or experience. They don't condescend, don't belittle, and don't make people feel like they need to prove themselves. That's why people feel safe around them. There's no pressure to impress, no silent judgment, just an unspoken acceptance that is rare to find. They pick up on what people need emotionally, whether it's encouragement, validation, or just being heard, and they give it freely without making a big deal about it. What makes this even more fascinating is that they don't do it for attention. Most people who try to make others feel important do it loudly. They post about their kindness, they expect recognition. They need people to know they're a good person. Sigma males do none of that. They simply move through life, quietly making people feel valued, then disappear without waiting for a thank you. And that's exactly why their impact is unforgettable. They don't just make people feel good in the moment. They leave them changed, carrying a newfound sense of self-worth long after they're gone. Number 2, they heal others while silently bleeding. A Sigma male can be drowning in his own storms, yet still be the first to pull someone else out of theirs. His ability to heal others while silently bleeding is almost paradoxical. He can be at his lowest, yet his instinct is to uplift those around him. He doesn't make a spectacle of his struggles, doesn't seek comfort, and certainly doesn't use his pain as an excuse to turn cold. Instead, he internalizes everything, compartmentalizes his suffering, and somehow still finds the energy to be a source of strength for others. This isn't just about being selfless. It's a deep-rooted part of how Sigma males function. They don't believe in burdening others with their problems, not because they think no one cares, but because they know most wouldn't understand. They have learned that vulnerability is often met with shallow sympathy, or worse, used against them. So they don't talk about it. They deal with their own pain in silence, behind closed doors, in the dead of night, when no one is looking. What makes this even more striking is that their help is never conditional. They don't heal people expecting loyalty, appreciation, or even basic recognition. They do it because they understand pain on a level most people don't. They know what it feels like to suffer alone, and if they can spare someone else from that, they will, without hesitation, without complaint, and without needing a single ounce of credit. They might be bleeding internally, but they'll never let you see the wound. Instead, they'll hand you the bandages and make sure you're whole again, even if they walk away in pieces. Number 3, they offer solutions, not sympathy. A Sigma male doesn't do the whole "I'm so sorry, that must be hard" routine. He knows that empty sympathy might feel good in the moment, but it does nothing to actually fix the problem. Instead, he offers something far more valuable, real solutions. His kindness isn't wrapped in comforting words or meaningless reassurances. It's built on logic, strategy, and deep understanding. If you come to him with a problem, he won't just nod and tell you it'll be okay. He'll dissect the issue, analyze the root cause, and give you an answer that actually makes a difference. This doesn't mean he's cold or unfeeling. In fact, it's the opposite. He cares too much to just sit there and watch people drown in their own mess without at least offering them a way out. But he also knows that most people don't actually want solutions. They want validation. And that's where things get tricky. Because a Sigma male isn't in the business of telling people what they want to hear. He tells them what they need to hear. If that means calling out their self-destructive patterns, pointing out the hard truth they've been avoiding, or giving them advice they might not like, so be it. What makes this even more powerful is that his solutions aren't generic. They're custom-built for the person and the situation. He listens, observes, and processes every detail before speaking, and when he does speak, it's not fluff. It's something so brutally insightful that people either walk away grateful or deeply uncomfortable because they know he's right. His kindness isn't about providing comfort, it's about providing clarity. Because in the long run, truth is far more compassionate than false reassurance. Number 4, they save people without letting them know they were saved. A Sigma male will change your life without you ever realizing he had a hand in it. He won't swoop in like a hero or make a show of his good deeds. Instead, he works in the shadows, subtly steering you away from disaster, quietly placing the right opportunities in your path, or saying something so profound in passing that it shifts your entire mindset. He doesn't want recognition, and he certainly doesn't want you to feel like you owe him anything. His goal isn't to make you dependent on him, it's to make sure you stand stronger on your own. His interventions are so seamless that most people never connect the dots. Maybe he convinced you to walk away from a toxic situation without you realizing he was guiding you toward that choice. Maybe he introduced you to someone who would help you later without ever taking credit for the connection. Maybe he saw you struggling and dropped a piece of advice so casual that you didn't think much of it, until weeks later when it suddenly clicked and you realized it changed everything. What makes this even more remarkable is that he doesn't stay around to see the results. He's not looking for gratitude or validation. He helps because he understands what it's like to fight battles alone. And if he can make someone else's path easier, even just a little, he will. And when his work is done, he simply fades back into the background, never once calling attention to what he did. The world is full of people who want credit for being good, but a Sigma male, he doesn't need the spotlight. He just needs to know that in his own quiet way, he made a difference. Number 5, they never guilt trip, even when they should. A Sigma male could pull you out of the darkest place in your life, sacrifice his time, energy, or resources for you, and yet he'll never mention it again. No reminders, no passive-aggressive remarks, no expecting anything in return. While most people use kindness as leverage, subtly or not so subtly, making you feel like you owe them, a Sigma male does the complete opposite. He helps because he chooses to, not because he's keeping score. This isn't because he's naive or doesn't recognize when people take advantage of him. He knows. He just refuses to play that game. If he gives freely with no strings attached. And if someone repays his kindness with selfishness or entitlement, he won't argue, won't guilt trip, won't demand appreciation. He'll just disappear. He'd rather walk away than manipulate or pressure someone into gratitude. What makes this even more fascinating is that he often downplays his own generosity. He could do something life-changing for someone and act like it was nothing. He'll brush it off, change the subject, and move on, making sure the other person never feels indebted. It's not that he doesn't want appreciation, he just doesn't need it. His kindness isn't a currency, it's an extension of who he is. This is what makes Sigma males so rare. In a world where most people attach invisible contracts to their good deeds, they give without expectations, without resentment, and without ever making you feel like you owe them your loyalty. And that's exactly why people never forget them, even long after they've gone. Number 6, they challenge people to be better without shaming them. A Sigma male doesn't believe in coddling people, but he also doesn't believe in tearing them down just to make a point. He challenges people to grow, to think deeper, and to make better choices, but he does it in a way that preserves their dignity. He sees potential where others see flaws. And instead of using criticism as a weapon, he uses it as a tool, sharp enough to cut through delusion, but never meant to wound. He won't sugarcoat the truth, but he also won't humiliate someone just to prove he's right. If he sees you making excuses, sabotaging yourself, or playing the victim, he'll call it out, not to shame you, but to make you aware of your own power. He understands that true kindness isn't about making people feel good in the moment. It's about helping them become the best version of themselves. And sometimes that requires discomfort. What makes his approach so effective is that he leads by example. He doesn't demand growth from others while remaining stagnant himself. He holds himself to the same standards, constantly improving, constantly evolving, which is why people take his words seriously. They know he's not just talking, he's living it. Unlike those who criticize to feel superior or motivate through fear, a Sigma male's challenge feels different. It's not an attack, it's an invitation to step up, to rise above, to prove to yourself that you're capable of more. And the best part, he never forces it. He simply plants the seed, walks away, and lets people decide for themselves. Because real transformation isn't about being pushed, it's about realizing on your own that you were meant for more. Number 7, they love the broken without trying to fix them. A Sigma male has no interest in fixing people because he understands a fundamental truth. People aren't projects. He doesn't view brokenness as something that needs to be repaired or corrected. He sees it as part of the human experience. While others try to mold people into their version of better, he offers something far more powerful: acceptance. He doesn't love based on potential or conditions. He doesn't wait for someone to heal before seeing their worth. He embraces them as they are, flaws and all, without making them feel like a problem to be solved. His presence is what makes the difference. He doesn't smother people with advice they didn't ask for, nor does he feed into self-pity. Instead, he offers quiet strength, the kind that reassures without words, the kind that makes someone feel safe even in their darkest moments. He doesn't push people to change, yet somehow, just by being in his presence, they find themselves growing. Not because he forced it, but because his energy makes them believe they can. What sets him apart is that he doesn't see brokenness as weakness. He sees beauty in resilience, wisdom in scars, and depth in struggle. He knows that people don't need someone to rescue them. They need someone who won't leave when they're at their worst. And that's exactly what he gives. No fixing, no forcing, no expectations, just unwavering presence. And in a world where love often comes with conditions, that kind of acceptance is rare, unforgettable, and life-changing. Number 8, they are silent protectors, not attention seekers. A Sigma male doesn't need an audience to do the right thing. He isn't driven by recognition, praise, or the need to be seen as a hero. He operates in silence, standing up for those who can't stand up for themselves, not because he wants credit, but because his principles won't allow him to do otherwise. He steps in when no one else will, defends those who are overlooked, and fights for what's right, even when there's nothing in it for him. What makes this even more intriguing is that he never announces his actions. He doesn't post about it, doesn't expect a thank you, and certainly doesn't use it to boost his image. He believes true integrity is doing the right thing when no one is watching, and for him that's just a way of life. Whether it's stopping injustice, shielding someone from unnecessary pain, or handling a problem before it even reaches the person it could hurt, he moves quietly, ensuring the world stays just a little bit more balanced without ever demanding recognition. He understands that real strength isn't loud, it's steady, consistent, and unwavering. He's not interested in proving he's the strongest, the smartest, or the most righteous. He doesn't need validation. And he certainly doesn't need to be worshipped for his good deeds. He simply does what he believes in and disappears into the background like nothing happened. And that's exactly why his presence is unforgettable. In a world where everyone is obsessed with proving their worth, a Sigma male lets his actions speak, and they speak louder than any applause ever could. Number 9, they are gentle with the right people and ruthless with the wrong ones. A Sigma male knows exactly where to draw the line between kindness and self-preservation. His empathy isn't a free pass to manipulate or take advantage of him. He's deeply compassionate and protective toward those who truly deserve it. But for those who betray trust or feed off his energy without offering anything of value in return, he doesn't waste a second. His kindness is a gift, but it's not given blindly. He doesn't let anyone drain him, and he certainly doesn't let toxic people linger in his life. What makes this approach so striking is the balance he strikes. He's gentle with the right people, offering his support without hesitation, but he doesn't do it out of obligation or fear of confrontation. He does it because he genuinely cares. When it comes to people who are deserving of his loyalty, he'll go to the ends of the earth to show up for them. But the moment someone crosses a boundary, betrays him, or makes the mistake of underestimating his limits, he will cut them off with ruthless precision. He won't drag out a toxic relationship just for the sake of keeping the peace. His boundaries are sharp, clear, and non-negotiable. If you earn his respect, you get all of it. If you disrespect him or misuse his goodwill, you get none. This isn't a matter of anger or vengeance. It's about self-respect. His empathy comes with an understanding that not everyone deserves it, and he's willing to walk away from anyone who threatens his peace. This isn't cruelty, it's survival. He knows that surrounding himself with the right people is what allows him to be his best self, and that means he has no room for those who bring him down. Number 10, they understand before they judge. A Sigma male doesn't rush to conclusions about people. He takes the time to understand before he judges. While others make snap judgments based on a person's actions, appearance, or words, he's the one sitting quietly, observing, and trying to understand the root cause behind someone's behavior. He knows that people don't just act the way they do without a reason. It's often the result of past experiences, fears, or unresolved pain. Rather than seeing someone's behavior as a reflection of who they are, he sees it as a clue to what they've been through. This deep understanding is what sets him apart from most people who are quick to criticize or label others. When someone reacts poorly in a situation, the Sigma male doesn't write them off as rude or inconsiderate. He thinks, what's going on beneath the surface? He knows that everyone carries their own invisible baggage, and sometimes people act out of that pain without even realizing it. It's not about excusing poor behavior, but understanding that there's always more to the story than meets the eye. This ability to empathize without jumping to conclusions is one of the reasons Sigma males can be so compelling to others. They don't judge people based on a momentary flaw or a temporary lapse in judgment. Instead, they offer a more compassionate view, one that acknowledges the complexity of human nature. And because of this, people are often drawn to them, seeking their understanding when they're in turmoil. A Sigma male doesn't offer judgment. He offers the space to grow, and in doing so, he teaches others the power of understanding before reacting. A Sigma male's kindness is not the kind that demands attention or applause. It's the quiet, powerful force that ripples through the lives of those fortunate enough to experience it. His empathy is deep and unwavering, but it's not a blanket offer to anyone who crosses his path. It's reserved for those who truly deserve it. And when it's given, it's pure and without expectation. He doesn't need the world to see his actions because he knows that real strength lies in doing what's right, not for recognition, but because it aligns with his core beliefs. His ability to challenge people without belittling them, to protect without needing acknowledgement, and to offer understanding without rushing to judge makes him a rare breed. He is the silent guardian, the quiet force that builds others up while preserving his own peace. In a world that often confuses kindness with weakness, a Sigma male proves time and again that true empathy is not about vulnerability, it's about strength, clarity, and boundaries. Ultimately, a Sigma male's kindness is a reflection of his unwavering self-awareness and confidence. He is not swayed by the chaos around him, nor is he driven by the need to please others. Instead, he offers a brand of kindness that is quiet, intentional, and unapologetically authentic. He gives not because he expects anything in return, but because he understands the power of being genuinely good in a world that often forgets what that really means. And in doing so, he leaves a lasting impression, one that lingers long after he's gone. If you found yourself captivated by the power and depth of the Sigma male's kindness, then make sure you don't miss out on future content that dives even deeper into the mind of the extraordinary. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you're always the first to know when we uncover more fascinating truths that will change the way you see the world. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, because let's be real, kindness should always be acknowledged, right? Share it with someone who needs to hear this, and let's spread the wisdom of what real strength and empathy look like. And most importantly, drop a comment below. What's your take on the Sigma male? Do you know someone who fits the bill? I want to hear your thoughts and start a conversation. Let's get this discussion going because your voice matters. Thanks for being part of this journey. You're not just a viewer, you're part of a community that values depth, authenticity, and the power of empathy. Let's keep the conversation alive. Bye for now and see you in the next video.